Hello everyone, this is second part video on thermal properties of matter. So in this we will be looking at the thermal expansion segment. Like in the beginning of the first part also we said, right, we will do it in three parts. One is calorimetry, second part will be thermal expansion, and third will be the heat transfer. Like this is what I mean, the thermal properties as per the NCERT coverage, but in some textbooks you will see that heat transfer will be given as a separate chapter itself. Okay, so what is this thermal expansion concept? Now the word expansion, right, basically I mean kind of it intuitively makes us to think that if we raise the temperature of an object, then it will be expanding. It will be expanding means what? It will be expanding in terms of the dimensions. We can talk about expansion in terms of the length. We can talk about expansion in terms of the area. We can talk about expansion in terms of the volume. The dimensions of the object will increase. That is what we'll get the idea when we hear the word thermal expansion. But the point is, we also have some anomalies or exceptions. Like one particular example is with regard to water. Between 0 degrees Celsius to 4 degrees Celsius, right? When we are heating water, water will not expand in terms of volume. In fact, the volume of the water will be decreasing. Why it happens is because of the internal the arrangement of the particles in liquid state, and with regard to the internal phenomena that happens inside the water. So in physics we are not going to deal with what happens inside, but we will only just look at it from the measurement point of view. So first we will start discussing about the general concept of the thermal expansion. Like this is something that we are quite used to. You have a jar on which there is a rubber lid or a plastic lid. The lid is tight, we are not able to open it. So what your mother or somebody will ask us to do? To heat it. When you heat it, what happens? You will see that the lid will be able to come out very easily. Similarly, when you look at the tires that will fit properly on the rim, especially that is very much needed for the vehicles with high speed, the tire internal diameter and the diameter of the rim will be almost equal to each other. Then how would we fit the tire onto the rim? After heating the tire will basically expand. Its dimensions become larger. It will be able to fit easily onto the rim. Now once it comes back to the room temperature, right, it will be able to just fit well onto the rim. From all different directions, it will be able to just fit well onto the rim. So this is how we will see some very common applications of the thermal expansion. Now when you look at thermal expansion or study of it, right, because we want to study it, we want to see how we can measure these things. We will talk about thermal expansion of the solids separately, liquids and gases. Mostly from the JEE mains or advanced level, we will have majority of the focus is going to be on the thermal expansion of the solids and liquids. Of course, gases also we can talk about the thermal expansion concept. So we will see. First we will begin with the thermal expansion of the solids. For solids, right, when we talk about thermal expansion, obviously we are talking about what? The increase of dimensions. As I said before, we can talk about the increase of dimension in terms of the length, linear, or increase of dimension in terms of the area, or increase of dimension in terms of the volume. Like when you look at the railway track, this is a very common observation. Like you would see, if you carefully observe it, there will be a gap that they leave between the rails. If that gap is not there, what would happen? In summer time, the rails, of course, they are made up of iron or steel there, so they will expand. When they expand, what happens? This, let's call it as rail 1, this is rail 2. Then they both expand means what? If there is no gap that is left, then we will see that the track will get a curvature. So as a result of it, we could have some really unwanted or untoward incidents happening. Obviously, the accidents basically. So if you want to have the allowance for the expansion of the rails, you will have to leave some small gaps in between, so that even though the rails are expanding in summer, they will be able to still adjust within that small gap, and the track will not get disturbed. Similar thing you will see in the case of these high electric transmission wires. Like in summertime, if you see, means they will be hanging very low because the wires have essentially expanded. In winter time, what you see is they will be kind of fitting a little bit tighter. So what is this concept of linear expansion that you're talking about? Expansion in the length on heating, or basically raising temperature. That is what we call as the linear expansion. So if, say for example, L0 is the original length and the temperature change is the delta T. So we can use, instead of using small t, we can use capital T. See, temperature change rate, we can either represent this by delta capital T, or we can even represent this by using delta theta, whichever. So the change in length is seen to be proportional to original length, and also is proportional to the temperature change. Means the temperature change is more, means change in length also will be more. When you correlate these two, what we will see is that the change in length is proportional to what? The original length into a change in temperature. This we can make it into equation by using a constant. That constant here that we are using is basically what we call as the coefficient of linear expansion. So what do we call it as? The coefficient of linear expansion, which we indicate with the symbol alpha. So the change in length delta L will be equal to what? L0 into alpha into delta theta. So delta L means what? Change in length. Right? Change in length means what? The final length L minus original length is equal to L0 alpha delta theta. So bring the L0 to here. So L is equal to what? L0 plus L0 alpha delta theta. If you take L0 common, means 1 plus alpha delta theta. That is the L value. So we'll just write on top here. What is it? The final length L will be equal to what? L0 into 1 plus alpha delta theta. So this is what is the final formula for the thermal expansion. So when the temperature is raised, the idea is that for the metal wires or metal objects you see, or even the objects which are made up of a different material, because here you will see some considerable change in the linear dimension. That is why we are examples, means we are picking these examples. Why? Because we will be able to see considerable change in terms of the dimensions. But even otherwise, for any material also, the linear dimensions will be increasing. So what is it? The final length will be equal to what? Original length into 1 plus alpha delta theta. So this is the formula we have to keep in mind. This is about the linear expansion. Now we see some interesting applications of the linear expansion. Like one of the concepts that we have discussed in the properties of solid chapter is thermal stress and thermal strain concept. Like you have two fixed walls. In between them we are keeping a metal rod or something. Let us say its length is what? L0. We raise the temperature by delta theta. Then if it is a free rod, means its length will increase by how much? Delta L, which is equal to L0 alpha delta theta. This length will increase by this much. But it is not free, it is fixed between the two ends. Means if you allow the rod to be free, means it would have increased. But now it is not able to increase. Means this delta L value, which is not allowed, is going to be now representing the amount of strain. Strain means how do you calculate? The change in length, which is the delta L value divided by original length here. What is it? L0. So what is it? L0 alpha delta theta by L0. So alpha delta theta. This is what the strain which is getting developed because of the heating. That is why we call it as what? Thermal strain. So thermal strain is what? Alpha into delta theta. Now the corresponding stress, what is the stress? Because it is the, what is this? This is the case of the linear, which will, I mean, in case of the stress and strain, right, we will call it as what? Tensile stress and tensile strain. So in that case, the modulus of elasticity will be called as Young's modulus. So stress will be equal to modulus of elasticity, which is the Young's modulus, into strain. Strain is what? Alpha delta theta. So this stress is called as what? Thermal stress. So these two formulas are important. Thermal stress is what? Y alpha delta theta, and thermal strain is what? Alpha delta theta. Now we have one more interesting application of this linear expansion, which is the bimetallic strip that is used as a thermostat. So you see here we have brass and we have steel. The two strips are placed against each other. Now we can build a circuit by connecting both the ends of the bimetallic strip. Why do we call it as bimetallic? Because we have two metals. The circuit is now complete. We will see the passage of current. But once we reach, because what happens when you pass current, the elements of the circuit will get heated because of the dissipation of heat. Okay, so what is it? When current passes through the circuit, the elements get heated up because of the what is it? The dissipation of the heat. This is something that we will study again in the +2 current electricity. In 10th standard also we have, right, what is the electrical power. Now as heat is dissipated, the temperature is going to be what? Increasing. So up to some temperature T0, we will see that now the bimetallic strip will maintain contact with the other end. But think about it. If brass is expanding more than steel, what will happen? We have kept the steel here and brass. Brass is expanding more means brass has to increase the length to a higher value. Steel will not be able to increase the length that much, which means the bimetallic strip is now going to form an arc. So as a result, it will bend in such a way that the dimension of this is what? This is the brass, right? The dimension of the brass will be higher than the dimension of the, so outer side will have what? The one which is expanding more. Inner side will have the one that is expanding less. This is how the bimetallic strip is going to bend. Now when it is bending, right, you see that obviously there is a loss of contact. So the electrical current will be stopped. Now slowly the bimetallic strip will start getting cooled. Once it is cooling, it will try to regain the original shape, because cooling means what? The dimensions will decrease now. So once it is sufficiently decreased means again the contact will be established like that. So it will be used to maintain the temperature. Once the temperature crosses certain limit, right, what do we observe? We will observe that the bimetallic strip will basically break the circuit. So this is one of the interesting applications of the bimetallic strip in electrical circuits. Now the increase in the linear dimension will also result in increase in the surface area. Like if you look at a plane lamina, right, think of it, if there is expansion along the x-axis, expansion along y-axis, obviously the area is also going to expand. The expansion in terms of area, right, that is what we call as the area expansion, or we can also call it as what? Superficial expansion. So how do we relate it? Let's say initial area is A0. We increase the temperature by delta theta. Then what is observed is the change in area is proportional to what? The initial area, and also proportional to the change in temperature. We make this into equation by using a constant. That constant we will represent this by symbol beta. What is beta? The beta here is the coefficient of area expansion. Same way, like, we'll get a similar formula. What is it? The final area minus initial area, that is delta A, right, is equal to what? A0 beta delta theta which means you rearrange means we will get this relation finally. A is equal to what? A naught into 1 plus beta delta theta. So this is the equation, the final area equation. Now here in terms of the area, right, there is one interesting question. I think it has come in one of the previous years. Like generally when we talk about the increase in terms of area, let's say for example somebody is telling that there is a metallic sheet with a hole inside. So there is a metallic sheet with a hole inside. Now when we increase the temperature, we know that the metallic sheet area will be increasing. But general perception is okay, when the sheet is increasing means this is a hole, right? From all directions the sheet will increase means we'll think that probably the hole will get covered up, in the sense the hole size will be decreasing. That is what is the common perception we might have. When we increase the sheet means we will think that the hole might actually decrease in terms of the dimension. But contrary to what we normally think, the size of the hole also increases. How do we explain this? Think of it. Okay. So if you look at the boundary, that is a linear dimension, right? That is the linear dimension. It's a dimension of the solid object. When we increase temperature, what we are saying? All the dimensions of the solid object must increase, means the boundary length also must increase. Boundary length increasing means what? When it will happen? When the hole size increasing. So it will not like the material will be shrinking in. It is not going to happen like that. The metal sheet overall will be expanding outwards. So hence the size of the hole also will be what? Increasing. It will not decrease. So this is one reasoning kind of question. Why I am particularly mentioning it is because it has come in one of the previous years, and also this is something that is kind of not in line with what we generally think. Okay, so this is about the superficial expansion or the area expansion. The third one is in terms of the cubical expansion. Like you look at a solid 3D object. Maybe I am just taking the example of cuboid. It can be any 3D object. Let's say initial volume is V naught. Then if you raise the temperature means the volume is going to change. The change in volume is proportional to original volume and also proportional to the increase in temperature. We make this into equation by using a constant. The constant here we will call it as gamma. That is the coefficient of volume expansion. So the expansion of volume in heating, what do you call it as? The volume expansion. We can also call it as what? Cubical expansion. Okay, so both volume expansion and cubical expansion, they both refer to same thing. Again here also we are going to get almost similar relation. What is it? V is equal to V naught into 1 plus gamma delta theta. So this is where I gave the example. Again we will discuss about it. For the normal scenarios that we are discussing, right? Alpha, beta, gamma, all will be what? Positive. That is when we will have the length or area or volume increasing with rise in temperature. If alpha or beta or gamma is in negative means what? Raised temperature, the dimensions will be decreasing. And that is exactly what we will see in the case of anomalies. Like water we discussed, right? Water, what did I say? I said when you raise the temperature from 0 to 4, the volume of the water will not increase. Volume of the water will be decreasing. Means what? There, if you look at the gamma value, right? Gamma is the coefficient of volume expansion. Gamma must be negative there. Normally alpha, beta, gamma are what? Positive for all the materials. But in that particular case for water, right, the gamma must be taken as what? Negative, or it will come as negative. That's why the volume is decreasing. So here the thing is the alpha, beta, gamma values, we will generally consider that they will be remaining constant. But if you look at the thermal expansion over a large temperature range, or significant temperature range, then what we will have to see practically is the alpha value, beta value, gamma value, they also will not be constant. Like we cannot say alpha for iron is this much. We cannot say alpha for copper is this much. They also will change if you are looking at a large temperature variation. Okay. But for the simpler cases, we will go with the idea that alpha, beta, gamma will be constants for a given material. They will be a property of the material. Okay. Now, the thermal expansion of the solids will increase the volume is what we are generally saying. Increasing volume means what? The density is going to be decreasing, isn't it? Because volume increasing means density will be decreasing, right? So we take an object of mass m. Mass will not change. Mass is the property of the material, right? It's a fundamental property. So initial density, let us call it as rho naught. That will be what? Mass by V naught. The final density rho will be what? What is the final volume V? V naught into 1 plus gamma delta theta. So look at this. How do we arrange it? M by V naught is what? Rho naught. Rho naught into 1 plus gamma delta theta whole power minus 1. This is the relation. Now here we will do just like in gravitation chapter we do, right, the binomial simplification. The value of gamma into delta theta will be small in comparison to 1, because if you look at the gamma values, right, they will be in terms of the order of 10 power minus 5 etc. So which means the gamma delta theta value will be very small in comparison to 1. So look at this. How do we see it? Like a binomial expansion. It is like what? 1 plus x whole power n. Binomial expansion, remember what is it? The 1 plus x whole power n. Binomial expansion simplification, we will take the first two terms of the binomial expansion. Again, check it in the basic math videos we have done, and also we have done this in the gravitation chapter also. The 1 plus n is what? Minus 1. X is what? Gamma delta theta. So what is it we have? Rho is equal to rho naught into 1 minus gamma delta theta. So this is what is the simplified form by using the binomial expansion. Okay. So this is how we can see the variation of density with the temperature. We'll see one question on this. The value of quotient of volume expansion of glycerine is what? 5 in 10 power minus 4 per Kelvin. You can see here. And by the way, you know, one thing that we have not spoken about is if you look at alpha or beta or gamma, all of them will be having units in terms of per degree Celsius or per Kelvin. The units will be what? Per degree Celsius or per Kelvin. So the dimensional formula will be what? Theta power minus 1. That will be the dimensional formula. Okay. So here we have the quotient of volume expansion. Gamma for the glycerine is given. The fractional change in the density of glycerine for a rise of 40 degrees Celsius in temperature is. Fractional change in density means what? We have to find delta rho by rho naught. That is what we have to find. What do we need to find? Delta rho by rho naught. Okay. So the simplified binomial formula, right, what is it? The rho is equal to rho naught into 1 minus gamma delta t. This is the formula we have seen. So what is it? Rho naught minus rho naught gamma delta theta. Now here the fractional change, in the sense, you know, we'll have to see what is the rho minus rho naught divided by rho naught, isn't it? That is the fractional change. So here we just rearrange it. This is what we are looking for. Rearrange it. What we will get? Rho minus rho naught is equal to what? Minus rho naught into gamma delta theta. So bring the rho naught to the left side denominator. I mean, it's just a simplification of whatever the formula we will have. Okay. So what do we have here? Rho minus rho naught by rho naught, that is equal to minus gamma delta theta. So what we see here is the fractional change in density will be negative. Why? Because if we increase temperature means density is going to be what? Decreasing. But here if you look at the options, they are not given as minus, means what? We have to look at only the absolute value of it. We have to look at only the absolute value. So if you take a modulus means what? Here also it will be what? Gamma delta theta. So what is gamma delta theta? Delta theta is what? So what is it? 200 into 10 power minus 4 means what? 0.020. So what is the correct answer for this? It is option D. Okay. Now we said for a given material we can talk about the coefficient of linear expansion, coefficient of area expansion or surface expansion beta, coefficient of volume expansion gamma. So alpha, beta, gamma are what? They are the properties of the material. And generally we will go with the idea that they will be constant, like for copper it will have value, for iron it will have value, like that. Here the alpha, beta, gamma, they will have an approximate relation. What is the approximate relation? Alpha is to beta is to gamma will be 1 is to 2 is to 3, which means beta will be approximately equal to 2 alpha and gamma will be approximately equal to what? 3 alpha. The question is, how do we get the relation? How do we show that beta will be equal to approximately 2 alpha and gamma will be equal to what? 3 alpha. For that, what we will do is, we will, we have different ways of proving it, but one relation we will prove by using the geometrical concept, other relation we will try to prove it by using the mathematical concept. So first relation is what? Let us consider a square plate of side L naught. What is the initial area A naught? It will be equal to L naught square. We change the temperature by delta theta. Final area A is equal to what? A naught into 1 plus beta delta theta. This is the formula we have, right? Now the final area will be equal to what? L square, final length. But what is final length? L will be equal to what? L naught into 1 plus alpha delta theta. So we have to square it. So which means what? L naught square 1 plus alpha delta theta the whole square is equal to what? A naught into 1 plus beta delta theta. So by the way, you know what is A naught L naught square? They will get cancelled. So now it is just about some mathematical simplification. So what is it that we have? Left hand side we are having 1 plus. So we are going with the expansion of a square plate. Separately we are writing the final length. From that we will write the final area formula. Also from the area expansion we will write the final area formula. We are just equating both of them. So look at this here. What is it like? It is like A plus B the whole square, isn't it? So 1 plus alpha square delta theta square plus 2 alpha delta theta. A square plus B square plus 2AB is equal to, right hand side is what? Just 1 plus beta delta theta. So 1 gets cancelled. Now the thing is, as we said in the previous binomial simplification also, beta, gamma, alpha, they will all be small in terms of value. So the alpha delta theta, right, that will be small. So if you square it means it will be what? Almost negligible. So here we can neglect this one because it will be what? Compared to other terms it will be what? Small. Like say for example, if alpha delta theta is like 10 power minus 3, then if you square it means it becomes what? 10 power minus 6. So that is almost like negligible. So if we neglect it, right, what do we have? That is why we said approximately. 2 alpha delta theta is approximately equal to beta delta theta. So delta theta is cancelled. So what is it? Beta is approximately equal to what? 2 alpha. So this relation we are able to get by using what? The geometrical relation. Geometrical relation means we have taken a square plate and we are looking at what is the surface expansion concept. From there we are trying to get these relations. Okay. Now the next one, the second one, we will try to do this more mathematically. So gamma should be equal to approximately what? 3 alpha. So look at this. If you take a cuboid, for example, of length, breadth and height, then volume is equal to what? L into B into H. If you look at the changes in terms of the values, the changes will be what? Changes will be very small when you talk about the fractional changes. Fractional changes will be small because we are dealing with the expansion of liquids, right? Which means the relation between the change of volume and change in the length and change in breadth and change in height can be expressed by using the differential relation, which is also what we call as the logarithmic relation that we will see in the error analysis topic. So if you take a logarithm on both sides, I will show it here again. Ln V is equal to what? Ln of L into B into H. This is what? Ln L plus ln B plus ln H. If you take a derivative on both sides, what is derivative of ln V? dV by V. Derivative of ln L? dL by L. Derivative of ln B? dB by B. Derivative of ln H? dH by H. Okay. So if the changes are small, dV by V, dV means what? The change, right? Small change. So we can look at our change delta V by V to be what? dV by V, because change is anyway small quantity. So we are using the differential relation because the changes are basically small. So delta V by V is equal to what? Delta L by L plus delta B by B plus delta H by H. Now L is a linear dimension, B is a linear dimension, H is also linear dimension, because the length means what? Linear dimension. Breadth means what? Linear dimension. Height means also what? Linear dimension. So delta L by L will be equal to what? Alpha delta theta. Delta B by B will be equal, that is also alpha delta theta. Delta H by H is also what? Alpha delta, because all these are what? Linear dimensions, right? What about delta V by V? That is gamma delta theta. So gamma delta theta is equal to what? Alpha delta theta plus alpha. So what is it? 3 alpha delta theta. Now again here we have to put approximately. Why? Because the relation that we have used is actually for the differential changes. But since we are saying that the fractional changes are very small, that is why we are able to use the differential relation, and we are saying it is approximate. That is why we have to put approximately. So what is it? Delta theta gets cancelled. So what do we have? Gamma is approximately equal to what? 3 times of alpha. So one relation we have got by using the geometrical proof, other we got by using the mathematical proof. So this is about the relation in terms of the alpha, beta and gamma. Now when it comes to the expansion of the liquids, what we need to keep in mind is liquids are going to be kept in a container, and the container also will expand. When you heat means not only the liquid, the container also will expand. So if you say that A is the initial level of the liquid, up to A the initial level of the liquid is there. We are heating it. Heating means what will happen? The container will expand. First just think about the expansion of the container. If you look at the expansion of the container, what is going to happen? Just think about it. When the container is expanding, the level of the liquid is going to come down. Let's say it is coming down to the B. So this AB part, right? AB part represents what? The expansion of vessel, typically made up of glass, AB part. Now then we will see like what? From B the level is raising all the way up to C. That is what? That is the real expansion of the liquid, the total expansion of the liquid, the actual expansion. But you don't see both the things happening together, right? So when you observe it, okay, initially the level is up to A, finally the level is up to C. So the AC part represents what? The apparent expansion. So one thing we can see here clearly, what is it? The real expansion is equal to what? BC part is equal to what? The expansion of the vessel plus the apparent expansion. So this is how we will have to see the relation between the real expansion and the apparent expansion. Now any of these expansions, right, we will have a corresponding coefficient. Like apparent expansion means what? Apparent increase in volume, that is basically what? The AC part, okay, divided by original volume into change in temperature, that is gamma apparent. What is the real expansion? The real increase in volume, that is the BC part. by the original volume into temperature change. For the glass, right, we can define gamma for the glass. What is it? The expansion of glass vessel by original volume into temperature change. Now the thing is, already we have mentioned about one relation. What is it? The real increase in volume will be equal to what? Apparent increase plus the expansion of glass. So look at this. Here what is there in the numerator? Real increase. Here what is there in the numerator? Apparent. Here what is there in the numerator? Expansion of glass. Denominator is same everywhere. So look at it. If you see, a real increase in volume is equal to what? Apparent increase plus the change in volume of vessel. Correct. You divide both sides by original volume into temperature change. What we will get? This side what is it? Real increase in volume divided by original volume in temperature change means what? That is gamma real. Apparent increase in volume by original volume in temperature change means what? Gamma apparent. The change in volume of vessel by original volume in temperature change means what? That is the gamma for the glass vessel. So what is the relation we are having? When we talk about the coefficients of expansion of the liquid, right, we'll talk about two kinds of coefficients. One is what? The real expansion quotient, other is the apparent expansion quotient. So what is the relation? The real expansion quotient is equal to what? Apparent expansion quotient plus what is the gamma g? The expansion quotient of glass vessel, the vessel in which the liquid is kept. So this is about the expansion of the liquids. Look at this question. The coefficient of apparent expansion of a liquid when determined by using two different vessels. So once we are using a vessel A, other time we are using what? Vessel B. They are what? Gamma 1, gamma 2. Remember, these are what? Coefficient of apparent expansion. If the coefficients of linear expansion of the vessel A is what? Alpha, and the quotient of linear expansion of the vessel B is how much? Let's say linear expansion of the vessel A is what? Alpha. So the gamma for the vessel A, gamma is what? 3 times of alpha. If x is the coefficient of linear expansion of vessel B, then what is the gamma B? It will be what? 3x. This x is what we need to find. Look at it. From that real expansion quotient for any liquid, real expansion quotient is what? In case we are dealing with the vessel A, what is it? The apparent expansion quotient, which is gamma 1 plus the gamma of the vessel. This is what? The real expansion quotient of the liquid, which will be a property of the liquid. That will be remain the same. When you are dealing with the vessel B, from there what we can say? The apparent expansion there is gamma 2 quotient plus the vessel gamma is what? 3x. Now you just look at it here. What we will have? The gamma 2 will go to the left. Gamma 1 minus gamma 2 plus 3 alpha is equal to 3x. Divide both sides by 3. What we will get? Gamma 1 minus gamma 2 by 3 plus alpha. That is what is our x. So what is the quotient of linear expansion of the vessel B? It is what? Gamma 1 minus gamma 2 by 3 plus alpha will come. So in both the cases, right, whether we keep the liquid in the vessel A or we keep the liquid in vessel B, in both the cases the quotient of real expansion of the liquid, because the real expansion is only a property of the liquid, right, that must be coming the same. That is the idea we are using the problem. Okay. Now we mentioned about the water having anomalous behavior. Like look at it. Generally what did we say? Rho, the simplified formula is what? Rho is equal to rho naught into 1 what is the simplified formula we have? For the density, rho is equal to what? Rho naught into 1 minus gamma delta. This comes from the binomial simplification part. Now what this tells us is, if you increase the temperature, then obviously rho will be what? Decreasing. Density will be decreasing. But not for water when we are heating it from 0 to 4. That is what we call as the anomalous behavior of the water, anomalous expansion. Because of the molecular pattern of arrangement in the liquid, the density of water will become maximum, means the particles will be closely packed, most closely packed when we reach a temperature of 4 degrees Celsius. So that is where the density will be maximum, means between 0 to 4, if you look at the gamma for water, right, gamma will be what? Negative. So generally when we talk about the thermal expansion phenomena, we will go with the idea that okay, alpha will be positive, beta will be positive, gamma will be positive, like that. Yes, that is true for most of the cases, but we can also have these kind of anomalies. Now for the gases, right, we can have the volume quotient of the gas, because I mean if you take a gas, increase the temperature, means from the gas equation itself we will be able to know PV is equal to nRT, right? Increase in temperature, if we maintain pressure constant, means volume must increase. So increase in volume by keeping pressure constant, divided by original volume into rise in temperature. That is how we will define the gamma V, the volume quotient of the gas. Similarly, we can define the pressure quotient of the gas, same, so if you look at the ideal gas equation, PV is equal to RT, if you maintain the volume constant, right, increase in temperature will do what? Pressure will increase. So increase in pressure by maintaining volume constant, divided by initial pressure into rise in temperature. So this is the gamma P. So here, when we look at the specific examples, we can even try and talk about what is the relation between gamma P and gamma V and things like that. But for, now we can just leave with the idea that for the gases we can define both the volume quotient of the gas as well as the pressure quotient of the gas. And if you look at the ice has got a very peculiar behavior, because normally when you increase the pressure for a substance, the volume should decrease. That is the reason why a gas will convert itself into liquid, liquid will convert itself into solid. But in case of water, the thing is ice will occupy more volume than the liquid water. Ice will occupy more volume than the liquid water, and that is because in chemistry you will study about it, like the solid structure, there will be the open cage structure of ice. That is the reason why we will have a lot of gaps, and hence the volume occupied will be more. Now the difference between ice water and the other normal solid liquid states can be seen through this example of relegation. What is the example of relegation? Take an ice cube, flat ice cube, keep it on two holders, and then have a wire with the hanging weights. Like we have an ice slab and we place it on two supports. The weights are suspended by using wire. With the help of wire, we are suspending the two weights. Okay, so this is the weight 1, this is the weight 2. They are suspending. So what they create is they will create the pressure here. As a result of the pressure that is created, remember when the pressure is increasing, what must happen? Volume must decrease. See, volume decreasing means in case of the ice and water combination, when the volume will decrease, when the ice is melting. So just below the wire, what we see is that ice will melt so that the volume can decrease. And that is because of what? Increasing pressure. So once the melting is there, the wire will actually penetrate a little bit inside. The portion above, right, once the wire has gone a little bit inside, the portion above is now relieved of the pressure. There is no pressure now. The water above the wire will be frozen again. So like that the wire keeps on moving without splitting the slab. Like the wire will just simply keep on passing through like that. After some 2 minutes you come and see, it would have passed through some distance. After some half an hour you come and see, it would have passed through some more distance. This way of passing of the wire through the ice slab, right, that is happening because of what? The abnormality in terms of the solid liquid state relation for the ice water from the other solid liquid states. So this is about the concept of relegation, and one thing that we need to keep in mind is why is happening, because increasing pressure will melt the liquid in that portion and the wire will just go in. Then the part of the segment above it is now relieved of the pressure. Pressure is not there. Once the wire has gone in, above part pressure will not be there, right? So that will be frozen again. So this is the concept of relegation. So with this, we have concluded our discussion about the thermal expansion. Now you can take a look at the videos on past year JEE mains as well as JEE advanced to understand how these concepts will get applied in terms of the numericals. So we'll see in the next segment, which is about the heat transfer. So as we said, the chapter we are dividing into 3 segments. Already we have seen calorimetry, now thermal expansion. The next segment is going to be the heat transfer part.